Same, same. Okay, so Lynn, do you have cocktails to go with her beautiful trifle? What do you have a name for the trifle first?
Oh, it's just called decadent chocolate trifle with champagne cream and raspberries.
God, and that
That's it.
is
I mean, that's a
indeed
mouthful,
decadent.
but it's
It
dessert.
is. I remember
That's a
every
perfect name. That
yeah.
has everything that I love. Champagne, chocolate, apples, all in one title. I see nothing wrong. That's a great name.
And Lynn, you actually have a
Thank you.
sparkling cocktail, right?
So I have a couple of cocktails. Chocolate is always hard to pair with a cocktail because it's just interesting, particularly if you're thinking light or whatever. But looking at the weekend or Earth, Wind, and Fire, and knowing that you were doing something that had bubbles in it and had something that had strawberries in it, my first cocktail is Serpentine Fire,
Oh,
Ooh,
wow.
one of my
right?
favorite songs.
And so I looked at the fruit. My garnish is sinking. Well, but I made, it's spring. And so we've got these great fresh flavors coming into season. So we know that we can get some good strawberries right now. And you use strawberries in your recipe. So I wanted to kind of mimic that flavor. And rhubarb is available right now. And strawberries and rhubarb are just a
Oh,
match in heaven. My family's from the South. I grew up eating strawberry rhubarb pies. So
yeah.
I got some fresh rhubarb from a local market that I can go to that has great farm, farm to kind of table and farm to glass produce available. And I cooked it down for just 10 minutes to break down that rhubarb, threw in some strawberries, threw in some sugar, and made a strawberry rhubarb puree. I love this. This
Mm.
is not, anyone who knows my cocktails know that this is a classic flavor profile that I always go to. But thinking about the weekend and the music, I brought brandy in, so I'm using Sacred Bond, Bottle and Bond brandy, 100 proof brandy. But it's got some juiciness, some sweetness, but it's also got the umph and tannins from being 100 proof. So I did 2 ounces of the brandy. I wanted to reinforce the flavors of the rhubarb and strawberry. So I brought Aperol in, which is a beautiful liqueur, old school Italian liqueur. It's an aperitif. It's a bitter. That its predominant flavor is rhubarb. So I did about an ounce of the Aperol, 2 ounces of this strawberry and rhubarb puree, just a little fresh lemon juice, because you always want that balance. You need acid. We were just talking about that. You need to
Mm-hmm.
bring a little acid in. That's like the salt to a great dish. It just wakes up flavors. A little bit of simple syrup just to sweeten it up a little bit, because strawberries and rhubarb are incredibly tannic
Mm.
and acidic. So you need a little bit of sugar to balance it out to make it a great cocktail. This garnish sunk, but I already made a second garnish, and I love these. I don't know if this is a technique you use, but this is something I learned when I was working at Spring Restaurant. And this is a curled rhubarb,
Love it.
I guess you want to call it. So I just took a Y peeler. So this is what a Y peeler looks like. And I had, like I said, this beautiful rhubarb. And so I peeled the rhubarb, and then I let it like swim in simple syrup for a day, and then took those strips and wrapped it around a chopstick and put it in my oven and let that sit
Oh,
overnight. In Chicago, we all have gas stoves, so there was always natural heat going on there. And I just let it sit overnight, and in the morning I got up and unwrapped it, and I have this beautiful, beautiful garnish. And it's super tasty. You can also do them just like pure straight, which I have some here. It's like fruit leather, so it's a fun snack for kids. And then I added because so it looks like a serpent, right? Serpentine Fire. Which
Smart.
cocktail. So I added some bitterments, Hellfire bitters, which are a nice spice, and I added some Creole bitters to it. So this is Serpentine Fire. So it's Sacred Bond, Bottle and Bond brandy. It is Aperol. It is a homemade strawberry and rhubarb puree, a little fresh lemon for balance, some bitters, a touch of sugar, and then a cool funky garnish.
love it.
And then the second cocktail I did, this is called Summer Breeze.
Oh,
And so everybody knows Summer Breeze and Seals and Croft, but the Isley Brothers do an amazing version of this song. It's like funky, it's cool. And so when you think of summer and warm weather, you think tequila, right? You think margaritas. So I used, for the base, Luna Azul tequila. It's a beautiful Blanco, 100% agave, made in the lowlands of Jalisco. And so I did 1.5 ounces of that. I brought in Hypnotic because, I mean, we're going back to some throwback, and Hypnotic is the throwback liqueur, and that blue is like nobody else can match it. So I did 1.5 ounces of Hypnotic. I brought in some fresh lime juice. Again, you want to have that balance. Added a little bit of simple syrup, shook that all up, put it over ice, and then just floated some tonic water on it. So I used Fever Tree's tonic water, and that just makes it a little lighter, breezy, brings some effervescence to it. A super easy cocktail. So these are what I will be drinking Sunday night.
During the verses.
Serpentine Fire in honor of the verses of Earth, Wind, and Fire, you know, throwing down against the Isley Brothers.